When someone says to look at the employee table, they might mean a select statement like this, where you get to see all of the records of the employee table. They might also be saying look at the design or metadata of the employee table by expanding tables, expanding employee, and you could look at all the columns and all of the other properties of this table. Still, they might be saying look at the code that created the table. This is the actual piece of the script that created the employee table. As we can see, all 7 fields are listed here. The first one is employee ID, which takes an integer data type. The second one is last name, which can be null. You can be hired and not have your last name filled in yet. First name is a required field. With this run, we created the table that later held this data. Now let's say we wanted to hire a new employee, employee 13, and his name was Phil. We don't know his last name yet. He's going to come in with all the documentation tomorrow, but we want to enter the record today. Now Phil's going to work in Seattle location 1, and he will work for manager number 4, which is Dave Kenson. He is a pending hire. So the data we intend to insert looks like this. Every record of the employee table has 7 points of data because there are 7 fields. Now it's possible for some of those points of data to be null, and in the case of inserting Phil, we are going to insert nulls. This is the syntax on how to do it. Type insert, into, and then the name of the table you wish to insert data in. Let's drop down a line and say what the values are. Well, the first value will be 13 because he's employee 13. The last name we don't know yet, so we'll just type the keyword NULL and leave it at that. And his first name is known, so we will put a single quote, Phil. Now the next field is hire date. So we don't know the hire date yet. We don't know if he's going to start tomorrow or next week. We just know that we have decided to hire him. So for the meantime, let's put a null in that field too. Now what location is he in? Well, we do know we've hired him for Seattle. So we will put location 1. He's going to work for Dave Kenson. Dave Kenson is employee number 4, so we will put a 4 there. And the status of his employment is pending hire. Put the ending parenthesis, and I'm just going to run these 2 lines of code. It tells me 1 row is affected. Now let's look at that row. There we see Phil and the data we've populated, along with the nulls that we will update later when the data becomes available to us. We were able to insert a null for the last name because the design of this table allows nulls in the last name field. If we would have tried to have inserted a null in the first name, we would have gotten an error message because we can see from this design that first name does not allow nulls. Hire date can be null, location ID can be null. As a matter of fact, all fields can be null, except for the imp ID because it's a primary key, and the first name because it's tagged as not null. Now, so these nulls don't play tricks on you, you gotta understand how they work. Let's look at our employee table in all its glory, and notice we now have 13 records. Well, how many of those records have a last name of Smith? Let's see. We go where last name equals single quote Smith. And we only have 1, Sally Smith. So if we have 13 employees, and one of those employees is named Smith, how many employees do you think are not named Smith? Logic would tell you, well, there's 12 employees that are not named Smith. So let's run this query. We get 11 records. Wait a minute. 1 record, the employee is named Smith. 11 records are not named Smith, and there's 13 employees? What happens is Phil didn't show up in either query, because we don't know for sure if his name is Smith. And we don't know for sure that his name is not Smith. So we may be genuinely worried that we have multiple last names that are null, and we haven't cleaned them up later. So let's look at this full query. And, gee, there's too much to look at one time. Let's use a where clause and find all the last names that are equal to null. We know we have at least one, like Phil, but nothing shows up here. When you're searching for nulls, you don't want to use an equal sign. You want to use the is operator. There, we found one record with a last name that has a null. Now how about the status field? The status field shows several records that have nulls. So let's change it to status because nothing is equal to a null, not even a null. But you can say that it is null. And we get 9 records where the status is null. Well, it looks like most of our employee records have a null status. Perhaps this is an oversight. Let's look at all the employees who do actually have some sort of status. Change your predicate to say is not null. And we can see Dave Kenson has tenure. David Lonning is on leave. Barbara O'Neill has tenure. And Phil is a pending hire. So what about everybody else that's not on leave or has tenure or they haven't been terminated? Well, the other 9, they're all active, but we have it listed as a null. It's probably a good idea that we update those records so it says active. So let's make an update statement. Update employee. Set status equal to active. If I ran this right now, it would rewrite every record, including David Kenson's. So I just want to update it where the current status is null. And that should update 9 records. 9 records are updated. Let's look at our employee table again. And we can see no more nulls remain in the status field. The employee table in JProCo has a field called Manager ID. Write a query to show all employees who don't have a manager ID. When you're done, your result should resemble the figure you see here. Skill check 2. Find the 2 records in the customer table where the company name is not null. When you're done, your screen should resemble the figure you see here. Skill check 3. Using your result set and criteria from skill check 2, write a statement to update the customer type field to business for each record where the company name is not null. When you're done, your 2 records should resemble the figure you see here. Skill check 4. You have 10 grants in your grant table. 1 grant was procured by employee ID 5, the other 9 were not. Write a query to show all 9 grants that were not found by employee ID 5. You want the grants to show, even if there is a null for employee ID. When you're done, your results should resemble the figure you see here. That completes Lab 3.1 on working with nulls. Next up, Lab 3.2, Expression Fields.